Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, California Weather Watch. Today's June 21st. Happy summer solstice out there to everybody. This is the day when the sun's rays get as far north as they can here, about 23.5 degrees latitude here. So they're creeping up into the northern hemisphere, and that kind of marks the first day of summer. Meteorologically speaking, though, we say that happens on June 1st. So this is what's going on here. We've got the Earth tilted towards the sun here, so the northern hemisphere warming up. Of course, summer for the northern hemisphere and winter for the southern hemisphere there. So today is really the longest day for much of the northern hemisphere. Most sunlight on the day today. This is looking at maximum temperature forecast across some of, for example, the deserts of California and Las Vegas. And you can see some of these big temperatures out there, and they're comparable to what Texas has been getting. But the big difference here is that you see these peak heat indexes here. The heat indexes are not the same in the two different areas. And I'm going to show you why here. You can see the really dry air across some of the desert southwest here and the big humidity values there. And you can imagine the more moisture you have in the air, the less evaporative cooling you're going to have because of that moisture. I mean, some of these dew points up into the 70s here, just very dangerous heat down there across Texas. Hard to get any relief. And you can imagine that as you go outside in this very dry air across some of Arizona and Las Vegas and out towards the deserts here, you got a lot of evaporative cooling. So it doesn't feel nearly as hot. And this is the heat index temperature here. So you can see as you're at 110 degrees, even if you have 40% humidity, your heat index would be a staggering 136 there. So it doesn't take much. At 90 degrees at 100% humidity, you're at 132. So you don't have to be well into the 100-degree area to get some of these incredible heat indexes here, and some of these areas in Texas are getting up above 100 degrees with some pretty good humidity values there. So that's why they're getting these heat indexes up towards 120, in some cases even higher. This is looking at 700 millibars, 10,000 feet. I went up this high so I could kind of erase some of the effects the terrain is having, but you can see this trough carved out across the west. This is why things are cooler here, and things are much warmer here across some of the Texas area as well. But it does warm up quite well across the desert southwest as well, however, and you can see that this is not going to end anytime soon for them across Texas here as we continue with this troughing, keeping California relatively cool anyway. This is looking at 2-meter temperature anomaly. So here we go. You can see California there. There's a Hawaiian Islands Pacific Ocean. This is last night's European, or yesterday afternoon's European run. And you can kind of see it's below average temperature all the way out through the 24th now, 25th, kind of hanging on. And we go all the way through the end of June before we start to see a little bit of change here. As you can see, some heat starting to build on to the west coast here by the time you get towards the beginning of July coming up here. So at least we have the rest of June, right? So, and then we'll watch things as we go from then and see where the weather forecast takes us, of course. But it does look like we're going to be a little bit below normal here through the end of the month. This is looking at European last night's run. And basically the takeaway from this is you're going to get some thunderstorm activity across the higher terrain, the Sierra Nevada, and some of the Northern California over the next few days. Here we go through Thursday afternoon, a little bit of an uptick there across some of the Sierra Nevada. You can get some heavy rain with some of those downpours, some lightning activity as well. And some precip even occurring across some of Nevada, the higher terrain as well. And we go on into Friday night, and then we go into Saturday shown here. And again, kind of rinse and repeat with the mountain thunderstorms coming and not much precipitation for the lower elevations. Nothing across Southern California or the Bay Area for the most part either. This is looking at lightning flash density potential. We're just going to kind of scroll through this quickly. You can see a little bit of activity this afternoon, tomorrow, a little bit of an uptick there. Go through the afternoon hours, and again, kind of rinse and repeat some of the higher terrain, getting some of these thunderstorms here as we go all the way out through Saturday, shown there. This is looking at 80-meter wind speed here, and as we go through the NAM today, this is the NAM 3cam high resolution model. This is last night's run. You can see we pick up these winds as we go through the afternoon, evening, and nighttime hours, and then we wane as we go towards the morning, and then with the heating, again, you can kind of see these winds pick up. Looks like Thursday and Thursday night are going to be the windiest day across some of the higher terrain and some of the deserts here, and off into Nevada as well. We'll look at the wind gust map here next in a moment. And if we go ahead and just scroll this all the way up to 60 hours, you can see some pretty hefty wind gusts here across Nevada, across the desert areas as well. If you're traveling on the interstates or the highways out there, watch out for those big rigs out there, high-profile vehicles, etc. Now, looking at the GFS last night, let's go ahead and scroll this all the way up to hour 364, 16 days out, and you can see not much precipitation whatsoever across a lot of the state, except the Sierra Nevada, Northern California, some of Nevada here as well, and maybe a little bit at some time or another coming across some of Southern California California, but it's really this time of the year things start to dry out pretty dramatically here across much of the state of California. This is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook here. You can see the bullseye there as we go through the end of June, which we mentioned, and you can see 6 to 10 day. This is going to be kind of hit and miss across California where those thunderstorms do develop here. You're going to be a little bit above average here, but not a lot of this area is going to be too much above average. Doesn't look like. As far as drought is concerned, we are still doing quite well. This was issued June 15th here, and you can see much of the state of California is drought free, just a little bit of moderate drought across the southeast portion there. And this is looking at the newest El Nino forecast here. It looks like they backed off the temperatures a little bit here. So we'll watch this over the next few weeks. Nothing to get too, nothing to hang your hat on just yet, but it looks like we are headed towards at least a moderate El Nino coming up here. And this was issued June 20th again. And you can see that warm tongue as we go through September, October, November, December, January, February. And El Nino tends to bring, or at least a chance for some wetter conditions here across the state of California. But of course, we'll monitor that. I have done an educational video on that as well to try to give people some idea of what to expect when we get into these El Nino months. And El Nino advisory still in effect, well above 90% chance that we are headed towards an El Nino coming up here. This is looking way out into the future here. This is the 850 millibar temperature anomaly at 5,000 feet. And you can see that trough over the west coast of North America there. There's Hawaii. There's Australia down there, Pacific Ocean. And you can see as we scroll through these days all the way through the end of June, kind of hanging on to some below average temperatures. But you see as we go into July, things start to warm up here along the west coast. So we'll see how this develops. This is looking way out into the extended forecast, and this was issued and almost 2 days ago now on the European extended forecast. And that's something I wanted to mention too. The European is going to be doing these extended forecasts every single day now that go out 46 days. So we can really look out into the fantasy forecast here. That should be coming up here in the next week or so. So that'll be an interesting product they're going to do. It used to only run about twice a week, but that will be going off every single day now. And they've increased some of the ensemble members with that as well. And they've also increased the resolution of the regular ensemble runs now. So there's technically, the high resolution model is going to be run all the time now in the ensembles. And that's going to be kind of interesting to look at. But I'll talk about that more over the next few weeks as well, especially when the product becomes available. This is Oroville Reservoir there, and you can see the changes here, very low water levels. And now we're just brimming with water across many of the reservoirs across the state of California. This is Shasta Lake. You can see the recovery here from November to January and on into May there. Very nice improvement across all the reservoirs. And you can see that here. You can see these capacities up towards 100% for Shasta. Most of the reservoirs are at least above their historical average. I think Trinity is still filling up as we speak as well. And you can see across a lot of the Sierra Nevada here, let's do entire state. You can see we're still dealing with just about 6.6 inches there. And you can see the median is about 0.3. So we're almost melted out usually at this time of year, but we've still got some pretty decent water amounts across the higher snowpack there across the Sierra Nevada. But anyway, yeah, it's been a good run there. This is definitely a beneficial winter and early spring here across the state. And I mean, you can't really beat that, erasing the drought across much of the West here, or at least improving it quite dramatically. So anyway, hopefully the summer doesn't come too harsh. And hopefully it's not too hot, but the signal is as we go on in through the end of the year, we're probably going to be above average here across some of the West Coast. So we'll continue to watch that as we go. Hopefully we can get some storms to intermix in, especially as we move towards the fall and winter months here. But anyway, yeah, so I may not be doing a California briefing every single day as things slow down, probably every other day or so, or every third day and whatnot. But you can watch my national videos. I will try to include California in those as we go on here for the next few weeks. And hope you guys are liking these videos. Leave some comments below, and I'll try to include some of what you guys want to see there in some of these upcoming videos. But anyway, hope you guys are having a good day, and we'll talk to you guys soon.